Let me tell you about my drive through the Mojave Desert and the chilling hitchhiker that kept appearing. So I'm Jack, a trucker who's been on the road for over 20 years. I've seen my fair share of strange things, but nothing compares to what happened that night. It was supposed to be a regular haul, just me and my rig heading through the Mojave Desert. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. It would have been beautiful if I wasn't so uneasy. You see, they had closed my usual route for construction, so I had to take this unfamiliar detour. The desert is a lonely place, you know? No one around for miles, just you and the endless stretch of road. Anyway, as I was driving, I started thinking about my brother. He died in a car accident years ago, and I've never quite gotten over it. That guilt, it stays with you. I was lost in my thoughts when I saw him for the first time. A hitchhiker, standing aside the road, his thumb out. I didn't usually pick up strangers, especially not in the middle of nowhere. But there was something about this guy. He was wearing old clothes, like something out of a different time, and the sun made it hard to see his face clearly. I just drove past him, thinking it was weird, but not stopping. A few miles later, I saw him again. Same clothes, same thumb out, same spot. It was like I hadn't moved at all. That's when the hairs on the back of my neck started to stand up. I pulled over at a small diner to grab a coffee and shake off the weird feeling. The place was almost empty, just me and this elderly waitress who looked like she'd seen it all. I mentioned the hitchhiker to her, kind of laughing it off, but she went pale. "Don't pick up anyone in the desert, hon," she said, her voice shaky. "Especially not at night. Folks around here tell stories, ghosts and spirits." I chuckled, trying to lighten the mood. "You serious? Ghosts in the desert?" She nodded, leaning in closer. "Just watch yourself out there." As I left the diner, her words echoed in my mind. Ghosts in the desert? It sounded crazy, but there was something in her eyes that made me think twice. I got back in my truck, the night closing in, and continued driving. Little did I know things were about to get a lot stranger. "Better buckle up, Jack," I muttered to myself, trying to shake off the growing sense of dread. I swear, after leaving that diner, I couldn't shake it. The desert night had settled in, cold and quiet, with the only sound being the hum of my truck's engine. The road stretched endlessly ahead, swallowed by darkness. I flicked on my high beams, trying to pierce through the void, but it didn't help much. As I drove, I kept checking my mirrors. Part of me expected to see that hitchhiker again, standing there with his thumb out. It's like I was waiting for it. But the mirrors showed nothing but empty road. A few hours later, I saw a figure on the side of the road again. Same spot, same old-fashioned clothes. My heart skipped a beat. I slowed down this time, almost stopping, but something in my gut told me to keep driving. "Not tonight," I muttered under my breath, gripping the wheel tighter. I kept going, trying to shake off the feeling, but my eyes kept darting to the mirrors. Just shadows and headlights. That's all I saw. Still, I couldn't help but feel off. The desert started to play tricks on me. The wind picked up, whispering through the cracks in the truck's cab. It sounded almost like voices. I turned up the radio to drown it out, but it kept fading in and out, playing snippets of old country songs before dissolving into static. "Great," I said to myself, "just what I need." I pulled over again to check the radio, thinking maybe the antenna got loose or something. I stepped out, the cold desert air hitting me like a wall. As I walked around the truck, I heard it, a faint whisper. "Jack." I spun around, my heart pounding, but there was no one there. Just the wind, right? Must have been my imagination. I shook my head and climbed back into the cab, eager to put more miles between me and whatever weirdness was out there. A few miles down the road, I saw a light flickering up ahead. I slowed down, thinking it might be another trucker or a rest stop. As I got closer, I realized it was an old, run-down gas station. The neon sign flickered weakly, casting eerie shadows across the deserted lot. Figuring it was a good place to stretch my legs, I pulled in. The place looked abandoned, but the lights inside were on. I walked up to the door and peered through the dirty glass. The shelves were empty, and the place was covered in dust. But there was an old man behind the counter, staring right at me. "Need a fill-up?" he asked as I walked in, his voice raspy and tired. I nodded, feeling a chill run down my spine. "Yeah, and maybe some coffee if you got it." He motioned towards an ancient coffee machine in the corner. I poured myself a cup, trying to ignore the uneasy feeling that had settled in my stomach. The old man kept watching me, his eyes never leaving mine. "You out here all alone?" he asked, his tone casual but his eyes intense. "Yeah, just passing through," I replied, trying to keep it light. "Weird night." He nodded slowly. "The desert has its way of playing tricks on you. Be careful out there." I paid for the gas and coffee, then hurried back to my truck. As I drove away, I glanced in the rear-view mirror one last time. The old man was standing in the doorway, still watching me, his figure slowly fading into the darkness. I couldn't help but wonder if he knew something I didn't. Something about that place, about the desert, felt wrong. But I pushed it aside, focusing on the road ahead. The night seemed to grow darker as I drove on. The feeling of being watched just wouldn't leave me. The truck's cab felt smaller, more claustrophobic. The desert stretched out endlessly, the road swallowed by the night. It was just me and my thoughts, and they weren't friendly company. I thought about my brother, Tim. Losing him was the hardest thing I'd ever faced. It was my fault. I was driving the night he died. We were young, reckless. I took a turn too fast, and the car skidded off the road. I walked away with a few scratches, but Tim, he didn't make it. The guilt has haunted me ever since. Suddenly, my phone rang, jolting me from my thoughts. I grabbed it, relieved to hear a familiar voice. It was my friend Mike, another trucker who'd been on the road almost as long as I had. "Hey, Jack, where you at, man?" "Hey, Mike, I'm out in the Mojave. Had to take a detour. Weird night." "Yeah? What's going on?" I hesitated, then decided to tell him. "I keep seeing this hitchhiker. Same guy, over and over. He's dressed all old-fashioned, and it's like he's following me. And then there's this old gas station." Mike laughed, but it was forced. "Man, you need to get some sleep. Sounds like you're seeing things." "Maybe," I said, but I didn't believe it. "Anyway, how's your route?" Mike started talking about his latest haul, but my mind wandered back to the hitchhiker. I couldn't shake the image of his face or lack thereof, and the way the old man at the gas station had looked at me, like he knew something was coming. "Jack, you there?" "Yeah, sorry. Just distracted." "Listen, Mike, be careful out there, okay?" "You too, buddy. Don't let the desert get to you." We hung up, and I felt a little better. At least I wasn't totally alone. But the sense of unease was still there, lurking in the shadows. As the hours passed, I started to notice more strange things. The whispers in the wind grew louder, more distinct. My name carried on the breeze. And then, there were the lights. Strange, flickering lights in the distance, like lanterns or old headlights. I pulled over again, needing a break. I stepped out of the truck and into the cold night air. The stars were bright, but they did little to comfort me. I felt a presence, something watching me from the darkness. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice shaky. No answer, just the wind and those whispers. I got back in the truck, slamming the door behind me. I was losing it. I knew it, but there was no turning back now. I checked the clock. Just past midnight. I still had a long way to go. I started the engine and pulled back onto the road. The next stretch was the hardest. The desert seemed to close in around me, the darkness pressing in from all sides. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being followed. And then, just as I thought I might go mad, I saw him again. The hitchhiker standing in the middle of the road. This time I didn't stop. I swerved to avoid him, my heart pounding in my chest. But as I passed, I glanced in the rearview mirror and saw his face. It was my face. Older, gaunt, and haunted. I gasped, nearly losing control of the truck. "What the hell is going on?" I shouted, my voice echoing in the cab. But there was no one to answer. Just me, my guilt, and the endless road ahead. The desert had its claws in me, and it wasn't letting go. I drove on, the image of that ghostly hitchhiker burned into my mind. My mind raced with questions, fear gnawing at my sanity. What did he want? Why did he look like me? And most importantly, how was I going to get out of this nightmare? After seeing the hitchhiker's face, my own face, I was losing it. But I couldn't stop. I had to keep going. I tried to calm down, taking deep breaths and focusing on the road. The desert stretched on, the headlights cutting through the darkness. I turned on the radio, hoping for some company, but it was just static. Frustrated, I switched it off and drove in silence. A couple of hours later, I saw lights up ahead. A rest stop. It looked run down, but it was a welcome sight. I pulled in, the gravel crunching under the tires, and parked. There were a few cars, but no people around. I stepped out, the cold air biting into my skin. Inside, the rest stop was just as deserted. Flickering fluorescent lights cast eerie shadows on the walls. I grabbed a cup of coffee from a vending machine and sat down, trying to gather my thoughts. As I sipped the lukewarm coffee, I heard footsteps. A young woman walked in, her eyes red and puffy like she'd been crying. She glanced at me and gave a weak smile. Tough night, huh?" she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "You have no idea," I replied, managing to smile. She sat down at the table next to mine, and we started talking. Her name was Sarah, and she was traveling to see her family. Her car had broken down, and she was waiting for a tow truck. "I keep seeing this hitchhiker," I blurted out, surprising even myself. "He looks like me, older. It's like he's following me." Sarah's eyes widened. "I've heard stories about this desert. They say it's haunted." I laughed nervously. "Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot tonight." We sat in silence for a moment, the weight of our situation settling in. It was a quiet moment, but it felt like a calm before the storm. I finished my coffee and stood up. "Thanks for the company, Sarah. I hope your night gets better." "You too, Jack. Be careful out there." I nodded and walked back to my truck, feeling a little better but still on edge. As I started the engine and pulled out of the rest stop, I glanced back and saw Sarah watching me through the window. There was something comforting about knowing I wasn't alone, even if it was just for a moment. The road ahead was long and empty, but I felt a renewed sense of determination. I wasn't going to let this hitchhiker, this ghost, get the best of me. I drove on, the night growing darker and colder. Hours passed, the tension building again. The whispers in the wind returned, growing louder. My name carried on the breeze. And then I saw it, an old, abandoned house on the side of the road. The windows were shattered, and the door hung off its hinges. Something about it drew me in. I pulled over and stepped out of the truck, my breath visible in the cold night air. I walked towards the house, my heart pounding. I knew I shouldn't go in, but something compelled me. Inside, the house was dark and musty. The floorboards creaked under my weight. As I explored, I found old photographs on the walls, covered in dust. They were pictures of families long gone. But one photo caught my eye, a picture of a man who looked just like me, standing next to a truck that looked just like mine. I stumbled back, my mind racing. What was this place? Why did it have a picture of me? I had no answers, only more questions. As I turned to leave, I heard a voice. "Jack." I froze, the hairs on the back of my neck standing up. Slowly, I turned around and saw him, the hitchhiker, standing in the doorway. His face was gaunt and haunted, just like in my rearview mirror. "Who are you?" I whispered, my voice shaking. He stepped closer, his eyes locking onto mine. "I'm you, Jack. I'm what you'll become if you don't change." I backed away, my mind reeling. "What do you mean?" He sighed, his expression filled with sadness. "You're heading for the same fate as Tim. You need to forgive yourself, or you'll be stuck here just like me." Tears filled my eyes as I remembered the accident, the guilt crashing over me. I can't forgive myself." "You have to," he said, his voice gentle but firm. "It's the only way to break the cycle." The weight of his words sank in, and I knew he was right. I had to let go, or I'd be lost forever in this desert of guilt and ghosts. The hitchhiker faded away, leaving me alone in the darkness. I stumbled out of the house, back to my truck, and sat there, shaking. I knew what I had to do. It wasn't going to be easy, but it was the only way to move forward. I started the engine and drove off, the desert still dark and cold, but with a glimmer of hope on the horizon. Driving away from that old house, I felt like I had escaped something terrible. But the desert wasn't done with me yet. I couldn't shake the feeling that the hitchhiker's warning was just the beginning. My thoughts were a whirlwind of confusion and fear, and the whispers in the wind didn't help. The road was eerily quiet, the silence only broken by the hum of the engine. My eyes darted to the mirrors, half expecting to see that ghostly figure again. But the road behind me was empty. After a while, I noticed a sign for a small town up ahead. I decided to stop there, maybe find some answers or at least some peace. The town looked like it had seen better days, with old buildings and empty streets. It was like something out of a ghost story. I parked near a small diner, hoping for some food and maybe a bit of company. As I walked in, the bell above the door jingled, and a few heads turned my way. I sat at the counter, ordered a coffee, and tried to look as normal as possible. The waitress, a middle-aged woman with tired eyes, poured my coffee and gave me a curious look. "You look like you've seen a ghost." I forced a smile. "You could say that. This desert's playing tricks on me." She nodded, leaning in a little closer. "People say this place is haunted. Lots of stories about lost souls and wandering spirits." "Great, more ghost stories. Just what I needed. You ever see anything weird?" She shrugged. "Sometimes. Folks around here are superstitious, but it's mostly just the wind and the heat getting to you." As I sipped my coffee, I overheard a conversation between two old men at a nearby table. They were talking about a trucker who had gone missing a few years back. The details were fuzzy, but it sounded a lot like my situation. One of the men caught my eye and waved me over. "You're a trucker, ain't you? Heard you talking about ghosts." I nodded, joining their table. "Yeah, been having a rough night." "What's this about a missing trucker?" The old man, his face weathered by years in the sun, leaned in conspiratorially. "Heard he saw something he shouldn't have. They say the desert took him." The other man, younger but still grizzled, nodded. "Yeah, he was always talking about some hitchhiker just like you. One night, he just disappeared, truck and all." A chill ran down my spine. Could this be another warning? Or just an old legend meant to scare newcomers? "Any idea what happened to him?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. The old man shrugged. "Could be anything. Desert's full of secrets. But if I were you, I'd be careful. Keep your eyes open." I thanked them and headed back to my truck, my mind racing. Was this just another wild story, or was there something more to it? I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something, a crucial piece of the puzzle. As I drove out of town, I spotted a glimmer of light in the distance. It looked like headlights, but they were erratic, flickering like a beacon. I decided to investigate, thinking maybe it was another trucker in trouble. I followed the lights down a narrow, winding path, the desert closing in around me. The headlights disappeared behind a dune, and I lost sight of them. Frustrated, I got out and climbed the dune, hoping to get a better view. At the top, I saw a truck half buried in sand. It looked abandoned, rusted, and forgotten. As I approached, I saw the name on the side. It was the trucker the old men had mentioned. My heart pounded in my chest as I climbed into the cab, hoping for some clue. The interior was dusty and decayed, but I found an old logbook. Flipping through it, I saw entries that mirrored my own experiences. The hitchhiker, the whispers, the warnings. But then, something caught my eye. A note scribbled in the margin. "It's not the desert, it's me." What the hell does that mean? I muttered to myself. Suddenly, I heard footsteps behind me. I spun around, expecting to see the hitchhiker, but there was nothing. Just the wind and the sand. My mind was playing tricks on me, or so I thought. I grabbed the logbook and headed back to my truck, feeling more confused than ever. The clues were piling up, but they didn't make sense. Was I being led to something, or was I just going in circles? As I drove away, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. They weren't just calling my name anymore. They were saying something else, something I couldn't quite make out. Driving away from that abandoned truck, my mind was racing. The logbook in my passenger seat felt like a lead weight. The whispers in the wind had grown louder, more insistent. They weren't just calling my name anymore. They were trying to tell me something. "It's not the desert, it's me," I repeated, trying to make sense of it. What did it mean? Was the hitchhiker me? Was I the cause of all this? As I drove, my headlights cutting through the darkness, memories of Tim's accident flooded back. I'd spent years blaming myself, carrying the guilt like a second skin. The hitchhiker's words echoed in my mind. "You need to forgive yourself, or you'll be stuck here, just like me." I felt a wave of anger and frustration. How can I forgive myself for killing my brother? I shouted, my voice breaking. The silence that followed was deafening. Suddenly, the road began to change. The smooth asphalt turned to rough, cracked pavement. The surrounding desert seemed to close in, the shadows growing longer and darker. I gripped the wheel tighter, my knuckles white. The whispers were louder now, almost deafening. "Jack! Jack!" I saw him again, standing in the middle of the road. The hitchhiker. But this time, he didn't look ghostly or distant. He looked solid, real, and undeniably like me. I slammed on the brakes, skidding to a stop just inches from him. My heart was pounding as I stepped out of the truck. The cold night air bit into my skin, but I barely felt it. "Who are you?" I demanded, my voice shaking. "What do you want from me?" He looked at me with sad eyes. "I told you, Jack. I'm you, and I'm here to help you." "Help me?" I laughed bitterly. "How can you help me? You're just a ghost." He shook his head. "I'm more than that. I'm your future if you don't let go of the past." I felt tears welling up in my eyes. "I can't let go. Tim's death, it's my fault." He stepped closer, placing a hand on my shoulder. It felt cold, but solid. Real. "Jack, you have to forgive yourself. It's the only way to move on. The only way to break the cycle." I looked into his eyes, seeing my own pain reflected at me. For the first time, I felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe he was right. Maybe I could let go. As I stood there, the whispers changed. They weren't accusing or haunting anymore. They were comforting, encouraging. "Forgive yourself, Jack. Move on." I took a deep breath, the weight of years of guilt lifting off my shoulders. "I'm sorry, Tim," I whispered. "I'm so sorry." The hitchhiker, my future self, smiled. "That's a start. Now go live your life. Don't let this desert claim you." I nodded, feeling a sense of peace I hadn't felt in years. As I got back in my truck, the hitchhiker faded away, leaving me alone on the empty road. But I didn't feel alone anymore. I drove on, the dawn breaking on the horizon, casting the desert in a golden light. The road ahead was clear, but my journey wasn't over. I knew I had a long way to go, but for the first time, I felt like I could make it. As I neared the edge of the desert, I glanced in the rearview mirror one last time. For a moment, I thought I saw the hitchhiker again, standing in the distance. But then he was gone. Just a trick of the light. Or maybe not. I drove out of the Mojave, the whispers fading away. But the memory of that night stayed with me. The question remained, was it all real? Had I truly met my future self? Or was it just my mind's way of coping with my guilt? The answer didn't matter. What mattered was that I had faced my past and started to forgive myself. The desert had tested me, haunted me, but it hadn't broken me. I was free to live my life, and that was all that mattered. But sometimes late at night, I still hear the whispers, and I wonder if the hitchhiker is still out there, watching over me, making sure I never lose my way again.